In the cold, gray dawn of the new cosmos, the gods of Olympus had won their war. The Titans, their savage parents, were broken, chained in the deepest pits of Tartarus. A new order had begun, ruled by the iron will of Zeus, king of the gods. But one Titan had been spared. One had fought alongside Zeus, using not brute strength, but intellect. His name was Prometheus. It means forethought. He was the visionary, the sculptor, the strategist. He who could see the shape of things to come, while all others saw only what was. While his foolish brother Epimetheus, or Afterthought, lived only in the moment, Prometheus wrestled with the future. In the wake of the Great War, the world was empty. It fell to Prometheus to shape the creatures that would inhabit it. He took clay from the banks of the river Panopeus, mixed it with water, and molded it in the image of the gods themselves. He sculpted mortals, man. He watched them. They were fragile, naked, and afraid, cowering in dark caves, starving in the cold, prey to every beast that stalked the land. They had no tools, no wisdom, no warmth. And Prometheus, their creator, felt something the other gods did not. He felt pity. He loved his creation, and that love would seal his fate. The first crack in the cosmic order appeared not as a thunderbolt, but at a banquet. At Macone, a great feast was held to determine the division of sacrifice. What parts of an animal mortals would keep, and what parts they would offer to their new gods. Prometheus, acting as mankind's champion, saw a chance to tilt the scales, however slightly, in favor of his struggling creations. He slaughtered a great ox and divided it into two portions. The first portion was a trick. He gathered all the prime cuts, the succulent meat, and the rich organs, and hid them beneath the animal's pale, unappetizing stomach lining, a repulsive exterior concealing a valuable prize. The second portion was the true deception. He took all the bones, stripped them bare, and then concealed them artfully beneath a glistening, inviting layer of rich, white fat. A beautiful exterior, hiding nothing but scraps. He presented them to Zeus. "Lord of Olympus," he said, "choose which portion you desire for the gods. The rest shall be for man." Zeus, the all-seeing, the all-knowing, was not fooled. He saw the trick. He knew down to the last bone what lay beneath the fat. But his pride, his newfound authority as king, could not allow the challenge to go unanswered. To admit the trick was to admit that a Titan could outthink him. So Zeus played his part. He reached out and selected the glistening fat. When he tore it away to reveal the useless bones beneath, his face darkened. He feigned surprise, but his surprise quickly gave way to a cold, bottomless rage. He had been publicly tested. He had been made to look a fool. And for this, humanity, the creatures Prometheus loved, would pay the first price. If they want to feast like gods, Zeus thundered from Olympus, let them feel the cold of the cosmos. He took fire. He hid it from the earth. The sky's fire, the sun's fire, the very warmth of life, Zeus locked it away, condemning mortals to a primitive, bleak existence. The world grew dark. The caves grew cold. Men huddled together, their teeth chattering, their progress frozen. They ate their meat raw, suffered from plagues, and died in the biting frost. They were animals again. Prometheus watched from afar, and his heart broke. He could not, would not allow his creations to perish. His forethought had shown him what mortals could be if only they had the spark. Not just warmth, but the spark of innovation, of art, of science, of civilization itself. He made a decision. It was not a choice. It was a necessity. In secret, he traveled to the Isle of Lemnos, to the blazing forge of Hephaestus, the smith god. Or perhaps, as others tell, he ascended to the very chariot of the sun. It does not matter. He carried with him a giant, hollow stalk of fennel. It appears green and wet on the outside, but its pith is dry and slow burning. It was the perfect vessel for a divine heist. He thrust the stalk into the heart of the sacred fire, capturing a single divine ember, a glowing coal of impossible heat. He sealed the stalk and, hiding it from the eyes of the gods, descended to the earth. He found mortals cowering in their caves. He broke the fennel stalk, and from it he delivered the stolen spark. Fire. It was not just warmth, it was everything. In that single moment, humanity's future was rewritten. With fire, they forged tools. They cooked their food. They gathered in communities, telling stories around the light. They built cities. They studied the stars. They created philosophy, art, and mathematics. With that one spark, Prometheus had given mankind the power of the gods. He had given them a future free from divine whim. He had made them independent. And Zeus, watching from his high throne, saw it all. This was not a trick. This was not an insult. This was rebellion. This was high treason. The king of the gods would now unleash a vengeance so profound, so devastating, it would echo for all eternity. And it would come in two parts. First, he would punish the creatures who had accepted the gift. "They want a gift?" Zeus snarled. "I will give them a gift so beautiful it will bring them to their knees. I will give them a kalon kokon, a beautiful evil." He summoned the gods. Hephaestus, the smith, was ordered to mold a woman from clay and water, shaping her with the beauty of an immortal. Athena, Prometheus's own friend, was forced to breathe life into her and teach her the womanly arts of weaving and needlework. Aphrodite, the goddess of love, draped her in irresistible beauty and filled her with a burning, cruel desire. And finally, Hermes, the trickster god, the messenger, was ordered to gift her a thievish nature,
a deceitful heart and the mind of a dog. They named her Pandora, the all-gifted. She was Zeus's plague, dressed as a blessing. Hermes led the beautiful, terrible creature down to the mortal world. He did not bring her to Prometheus. Zeus knew the Titan of forethought would see the trap. Instead, he brought it to his brother, Epimetheus, afterthought. Prometheus had warned him, begged him, never, ever accept a gift from Zeus, no matter how beautiful. But Epimetheus, seeing Pandora, was bewitched. Her beauty was divine. He forgot his brother's warning. He saw only the gift, not the giver. He took her as his wife. In their home, there sat a pithos, a large clay jar, not a box, that Prometheus had left with his brother. He had given one final desperate warning. This jar must never, ever be opened. But Pandora, gifted by Hermes with a restless, deceitful curiosity, could not resist. She was designed not to resist. One day she crept toward the jar. She lifted the heavy lid, and from within a black screaming cloud of horrors burst forth. Disease, suffering, toil, plague, sorrow, war, betrayal, all the miseries and evils that Zeus had locked away, he now unleashed upon the head of mankind. Pandora, terrified, slammed the lid shut, but it was too late. The world was forever poisoned. Only one thing remained trapped at the bottom of the jar, fluttering weakly against the clay. Olympus, the spirit of hope. Historians have argued for millennia whether this too was part of the punishment. Was hope left behind to give mortals the strength to endure their new suffering? Or was it the cruelest torment of all, the false promise of a better future that would never come, compelling mankind to trudge through a life of misery? Zeus did not care. His revenge on mankind was complete. Prometheus gave humanity a future, but Zeus poisoned it. The story of the gods is a complex web of power, jealousy, and profound consequences. If you appreciate these deep dives into the true dark nature of mythology, make sure to subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon. You won't want to miss the stories we unearth next.
Now he would turn his full, undivided attention to the one who had started it all, the personal punishment, the eternal sentence. He summoned his guards. They seized Prometheus. They dragged him to the furthest edge of the world, to the desolate, wind-swept peaks of the Caucasus Mountains. There, Hephaestus, the smith god, weeping as he worked, was ordered to bind the Titan to the sheer rock face. He hammered great adamantine, unbreakable chains through Prometheus's flesh, pinning him to the stone, exposed to the blistering sun and the freezing night. But this was only the beginning. For this betrayal, there could be no simple death. Zeus designed a torture that was a living, regenerating nightmare. He sent his personal emblem, the Atos Dios, a monstrous eagle born of the monsters Typhon and Echidna. Every single morning, this creature would descend from the sky, its wings blocking out the sun. It would land on the Titan's chest, its talons tearing into his immortal flesh, and it would feast. It would rip open Prometheus's abdomen and devour his liver, piece by bloody piece, until nothing was left. Prometheus, fully conscious, would scream, his cries echoing unheard across the frozen peaks. And every single night, because he was a god, his liver would regenerate, growing back to perfect health, healing completely, only to be ready for the eagle's return at dawn. Day after day, year after year, century after century, it was a cycle of perfect, unending agony, an eternity of torment for a single act of compassion. But why? Why a punishment so grotesque, so infinitely cruel for stealing fire? The other gods wondered, the mortals whispered. The punishment, they felt, far outweighed the crime. It was because the fire was not the true reason. The torture was not the true punishment. The true punishment was an interrogation. Zeus was not just enraged, he was afraid. He was afraid because Prometheus, the Titan of forethought, knew a secret, a prophecy. Prometheus knew the name of the one being in all of creation, destined to bear a son who would be greater than his father. A son who would one day overthrow the king of Olympus. Zeus had overthrown his own father, Cronus. Cronus had overthrown his father, Uranus. Zeus knew the pattern. He was paranoid, obsessed with his own downfall. The name Prometheus held was that of the sea nymph Thetis. The entire gruesome spectacle, the chains, the eagle, the daily evisceration, it was all for one purpose. It was Zeus hovering over the tortured Titan, screaming the same question day after day for 1,000 years. Tell me her name. And Prometheus, chained, bleeding, in agony beyond mortal comprehension, said nothing. His silence was his final defiance. His body was broken, but his will remained his own. He would not give Zeus the satisfaction. He would endure. And he did endure for 30,000 years by some accounts. He hung there, a symbol of rebellion, paying the price for human knowledge. His liberation finally came not from a god, but from a hero. Heracles, the greatest of mortal heroes, a son of Zeus, on his own path to completing his labors. Heracles, seeing the noble Titan in his endless torment, was moved. He drew his bow, and with a single arrow he shot the great eagle from the sky. He shattered the adamantine chains and set Prometheus free. And Zeus allowed it. Perhaps after millennia his rage had cooled. Perhaps he had finally learned the secret of Thetis by other means. Or perhaps, in a strange, terrible way, he had come to respect the Titan who had defied him. Prometheus, the fire-bringer, the champion of mankind, was free. But he was not unscarred. He was ordered to wear a single ring forged from one of his chains and set with a stone from the Caucasus peak. It was a reminder, a symbol that even in freedom he was and always would be bound to his punishment. His legacy is not just the fire in our hearths, it is the fire in our minds. Prometheus was the first rebel, the first to challenge tyranny for the sake of a greater good. He is the symbol of science, of knowledge, and of art.
He is the Titan who saw what we could be. But this brings up a profound question. Was Prometheus a hero or a fool? Did his gift truly liberate humanity, or did it just give us the tools to destroy ourselves, inviting the wrath of the gods? What do you think? Let us know your thoughts on his sacrifice in the comments below. He is the Titan who was willing to suffer an eternity of darkness so that we might have a single moment of light.